Welcome back. I'll be getting to your calls in just a moment, but right now, Victoria Jones is on the line with us, the chief Washington analyst with the D.C. radio company. Victoria Jones D.C. is her Twitter handle. And Victoria, I understand that a certain Larry is about to be very happy.
Well, I think Larry the cat, the number 10 cat, might be quite happy because I'm not sure that he ever really bonded. I'm not sure that Larry the cat ever really bonded with Boris Johnson, the British Prime Minister. And I call him the British Prime Minister because he has resigned, but he's not out of number 10.
And won't be until October, if I'm reading this right?
That's what he says, but that's not really what a lot in his party want. Even former Prime Minister John Major, who is also a conservative, said Boris has to go now. He needs to go now. The leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, the Labour leader, has said yesterday, actually, that if Boris Johnson does not go immediately, he will call another no confidence vote, and he wants a general election because people think that it's possible that Boris could do and Dominic Cummings, Johnson's former close advisor, has said that Boris Johnson will inflict carnage, his word, on the country if he's allowed to be a caretaker.
How? I mean, you know, the principal hit, I mean, obviously there are people who don't like his politics. I get that. But the principal hit on him is that he's a liar, that he lied about parties, he lied about, this guy that he, got this appointment who had been accused of sexually assaulting women, and Johnson lied that he didn't know about that. I mean, basically, and which raises a second question, by the way, that I don't want to forget to get to here, Victoria, which is, how is it in your former country, I realize you're an American now, but, the country of your birth, that a liar at the highest level of government is kicked out, even though he's a conservative and pretty kind of Trump-like in many ways. But here in the United States, we get this guy who tells 36,000 lies over a 4-year period, and he's still embraced by his political party. I don't get that either.
That's so far above my pay grade, Tom. I don't know what you want me to do with that one.
Okay, all right.
But he's kicked out. He was kicked out over finally, eventually, the straw that broke the camel's back is a saying for a reason, and the final scandal was the Chris Pincher scandal, and that's a conservative member of Parliament, a senior member of Parliament, a deputy chief whip, one of those guys who puts pressure on other members of Parliament to vote in a certain way.
Kind of the Steve Scalise of Parliament.
Yes, yes. And at the end of June, he went to a private members club in June, and in his words, he drank far too much and embarrassed himself. And what he did is he's accused of groping 2 men, according to numerous other members of Parliament. And that's led to all kinds of other allegations, many dating back years. He's known to be an alleged serial groper of men. And Downing Street, in other words, where Boris Johnson lives, says that he was not aware of specific allegations. That's what they said at first, before he appointed him to this job, very important job. Then later on, because it turned out not to be true, it turned out then he said he was aware of it. Well, then it turns out that he was told in person. And then he said, well, yes, I forgot.
So we're talking with Victoria Jones, the chief Washington analyst for the D.C. radio company. So, Victoria, the inflation in the United Kingdom right now is higher than it is in the United States by about 2 points, if I'm remembering correctly. Your price of gas, of course, is much more expensive there than it is here. The economy is in rougher shape than it is here in the United States. Does that have anything to do with this? I mean, here there's all this dissatisfaction with Biden because of the economy, although, we've got the lowest unemployment rate we've had since 1963, but still.
Yes, The inflation is now 9.1%. It's obviously it's not all Boris Johnson's fault, but it's 9.1%. Food is up. There are food shortages over there. I was there for a wedding just over a month ago, and there are also shortages over there. You know, the government's done some things, but it also increased taxes in April, which infuriated people. But, you know, middle-class people paying what, like $50,000, $60,000 a year, you know, earning that, are paying more. So that is not a big income to be paying more in taxes.
Right. No, I totally get it. And Brexit, last question here. The UK has separated itself from the rest of the European Union, a very controversial thing that appears to have been driven in large part by trolls from Russia, of all things. But Boris Johnson, this was his thing. Are Brits having second thoughts about Brexit?
It's hard to tell right now. However, there are one or two who were anti-Brexit Conservative members of Parliament who are now saying, once Boris Johnson is out, Brexit needs to be revisited and the whole thing needs to be looked at again, which is a really interesting aspect of this.
Yeah, yeah, that could get very interesting. Victoria, thank you so much for dropping by and filling us in.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Great talking with you. Victoria Jones, Victoria Jones DC on Twitter. Check her out.